good morning, students. On behalf of the team at Sandhan, I welcome you to this particular lecture on Paradise Lost. John Milton, perhaps the greatest poet in English literature, and of course, Paradise Lost is his masterpiece. It deals with issues diverse from marriages to monarchy and as well as different theological issues, just as Milton tried to explain the different ways of God to man. So we will try here to attempt to explain the ways of Milton to you. I have a panel of experts here. Let me introduce them to you. With me is Dr. Jean D'Souza. She is a teacher at HA College of Commerce. Her particular field of interest is gender and the Bible. And with her is Professor Chetan Mewara.
Hello.
He is also teaching at HA College of Commerce, and his particular field of interest is language and communication. So without any further delay, I request my colleagues to discuss the greatest epic in English literature.
Thank you so much, madam, and good morning to all our students. I'd like to begin with a question. Have you ever felt really sad or angry with the world, frustrated about the suffering and the injustice that is going on? Have you ever cried out in frustration that life is not fair? Well, you're not alone. Nearly 400 years ago, Milton struggled with the same question. And at the very beginning of the poem, Milton claims that he will assert eternal providence and, I quote, justify the ways of God to men. In other words, Milton says he will explain and defend God's ways and will show us how everything in this world is a part of a great plan. And then it all ends with everyone being happy ever after. So with this, now we move on to Paradise Lost.
Ma'am, Paradise Lost is considered as an epic poem. But what do you mean by epic poem?
Yeah, I'll explain this with a slide.
Please see the slide, students. Carry on.
An epic is very simply a long, big poem. Typically, epic poems include a lot of discussion about the world at large and aspects of a particular moment in civilization. Such a poem explores, as the next slide shows,
Please see the slides.
the vision of an entire society, the relationship between human beings and the divine, the essential qualities which establish and perpetuate a certain moral vision of life, the historical framework and future destiny of a nation, and so on. These epics are more than just stories, they are celebrations of an entire culture.
Ma'am, can you suggest, apart from Paradise Lost, any other famous epic poems in English literature or in literature in general?
Yes, we cannot discuss epic poems without talking about certain great epics. Homer and Homer's Iliad were the source of all the knowledge that matters most. For the Romans, there was another writer, Virgil, who provided the vision of how they saw themselves. Virgil has written the famous epic Aeneid, as the slide will show you. Please look at the slide. And in the next slide, we have Dante's Divine Comedy, which is also one of the greatest epics of his own time. In India, we have our own Indian epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata.
I'm very much happy that you have started introducing epic poem in literature. But can we label Paradise Lost as an epic poem? And madam, if you say yes, why?
Yes, Paradise Lost is an epic poem, and like the poems of Homer and Dante and Virgil, this poem too tells a story about momentous events which incorporated into the grand theme of the epic poem Paradise Lost. These themes are timeless and universal. And Milton used the Bible, especially the creation story of the Bible, in his epic, The Paradise Lost. Of course, he also used Homer and Virgil as his sources. The main source of Paradise Lost, however, is the book of Genesis, which is in the Bible.
When you have mentioned, then explain us in detail what is Genesis creation story in Paradise Lost.
Yeah, the Genesis creation story is a very interesting story. The Genesis story begins with chaos and disorder. And in the beginning, there was nothing except chaos everywhere. And then God saw that there was chaos and decided to bring order into the world. And so he first separated the land from the water and he made the earth. Then he made animals and plants and the sky and the stars, the oceans and the water creatures, and the entire world as we understand it. And then finally he made man and woman. The man was called Adam and the woman was called Eve. He gave them this whole world that he had created, and he said that all of this is for you. But there is one condition: do not eat from the fruit of this tree. That was the tree of knowledge. They could eat of any other tree, any other plant that they wished to, but they could not eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Now, all was going on well, but of course, there has to be a villain in the story. And the villain here was Satan, or the devil. Satan saw how everything was going on smoothly in God's paradise, and he wanted to create hindrances or obstructions in this place. So he decided to take the form of a serpent, a snake, and he went to Eve and tempted her to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Eve got tempted, and then she ate the fruit. After she ate the fruit, she realized her mistake and went to her husband and gave the fruit to him too. And her husband, Adam, also ate the fruit. God gets very angry with this, and that is the beginning of the fall. So God decides that Adam and Eve now have disobeyed him and cannot live in paradise anymore, and he removes them from the Garden of Eden. But as they go, he promises to save them one day in future by sending his own son to deliver them, to redeem them. That was the Genesis story.
Paradise Lost is considered as an epic poem. An epic poem contains number of plots, number of themes, number of characters. Let us have some knowledge and introduction about the characters of Paradise Lost. Along with the pictures, ma'am, let us talk something about the important characters of Paradise Lost.
Yes, the slide will show you the two main characters in Paradise Lost are God the Father, who is the most important character, the protagonist, as we can call him, and God the Son. Christianity believes in the Trinity, in one God but three aspects to one God. And these three persons are God the Father, God the Son, God the Spirit. God the Spirit is not mentioned in Paradise Lost, but God the Father and God the Son are the main actors here. In the next slide, we have Satan or Lucifer. This is the antagonist, as people call him. He is the powerful and proud angel who wants to rebel against God, and he finally manages to tempt Adam and Eve into disobeying God. Of course, many people think that he is a very important character because of his defiance and strength. Then we have the characters of Adam and Eve, the first human beings who lived on planet Earth in perfect happiness. There was complete love and obedience to God in this paradise. Then there are also the angels, Gabriel, Raphael, Michael, and Uriel. These are the archangels, and they are powerful and fearless. And then we have the devils, Beelzebub, Mammon, Belial, and Moloch. These are all belonging to Satan's army. And then you have Sin, who is the daughter of Satan, and Death, who is the son of Satan. And besides these, of course, there are many other angels and devils whom we can call the minor characters of the play.
So along with the major characters, minor characters also play an important role, and they develop a wonderful story. Ma'am, will you explain in detail the story of Paradise Lost so our students all over Gujarat could understand the Paradise Lost easily,
Yeah,
and they can
sure.
digest the complexity of the epic?
Yes. I will also show you pictures on the slides of all these characters and events that are taking
slowly
place. The action begins with Satan and his fellow rebel angels who are found chained to a lake of fire in hell. You can see on the slide a picture of hell. They quickly free themselves and fly to land and discover a place called Pandemonium, which will be their meeting place. In heaven, we have another set of people. We have God, the main character, and the other angels. Now, what is happening in hell is that the devil, Satan, or Lucifer as we call him, and the other and the other devils are planning to spoil God's latest and newest creation, which is human beings. So Satan agrees that he will go himself and do this job of spoiling this new creation. And Sin and Death, who are the children of Satan, also follow Satan into paradise. As Satan travels through night and chaos, we have another slide to show you this picture. Satan travels through night and chaos and finds earth. He disguises himself as a cherub. Cherub means an angel. To get past with the archangel Uriel, who is guarding the gates of paradise. And he tells Uriel that he wishes to see and praise God's glorious creation, and Uriel agrees. Satan leaps over paradise's wall and takes the form of a large bird and perches himself on the top of the tree of life. In the next slide, you will see how in the meanwhile Adam and Eve are busy doing their daily jobs, eating the fruit that God has given them, and carefully obeying God's commandment of not eating from the tree of knowledge. And then we have this slide which shows that after a few days, Satan comes back to paradise and he studies all the animals that he can see and chooses to take the form of a serpent, a snake. Satan searches for Eve and he is delighted to find her alone. And in the next slide, you will see how in the form of a snake, he tries to tempt Eve by complimenting her and praising her beauty and her nature and her virtue. She is amazed to find that a snake can talk. And so she asks him more questions about himself. In this conversation, the Satan, Lucifer, manages to tempt Eve to eat of the tree of knowledge. She is first hesitant, but then finally she reaches for a fruit from the tree and eats it. She becomes distraught, she becomes unhappy, and then searches for Adam. And in this slide you can see that Adam, who was busy before he met Eve, finds that she has eaten of the fruit, and then he is horrified. But knowing that she has fallen, he decides that he would rather be fallen with her than remain pure and lose her. He loves her so much. So he eats from the fruit as well. And now Adam and Eve look at each other in a different way and turn to lust. God, in this slide, as you can see, comes to know about their acts of disobedience. He tells the angels in heaven that Adam and Eve must be punished. But with a display of both justice and mercy, he sends his Son to give out the punishments. Now the Son, God the Son, first punishes the serpent, and he punishes him by saying that the serpent will never again walk upright. He will be always on his belly. He will walk on his stomach. And then in the next slide, we have how Adam and Eve are punished. The Son tells Adam and Eve that they must now suffer pain and death. Eve and all women must suffer the pain of childbirth, and they must obey their husbands. And Adam and all men must hunt and grow their own food. In the next slide, of course, Satan, after having committed this crime,